This is a video presentation to uncover the evidence of your straw man. Have you ever thought that there might be another version of yourself in existence that has absolutely no freedom? If the answer is either yes or no, either way, you need to know about your straw man, which is your legal person. Your legal person, aka your straw man, was created by the C'est du Vie Act of 1666. C'est du Vie is French and translates directly into English into he or she who lives. The C'est du Vie Act of 1666 was created to ensure that property of individuals is put into a trust after the Great Fire of London. The Great Fire of London burned from the 2nd right the way through to the 6th of September of that very year, and evidence suggests that it may well have been deliberate. The C'est du Vie Act is described in legislation as an act for redress of inconveniences by want of proof of the deceased of persons beyond the seas or absenting themselves upon whose lives estate do depend. C'est du Vie remaining beyond the sea for 7 years together and no proof of their lives, judge in action to direct a verdict as though C'est du Vie were dead. So what is your estate? Your estate is actually created through the registration of your birth certificate. The birth certificate is used as a financial instrument to create your estate and floated on the stock market. Its value is the estimated tax revenue you are expected to generate during your lifetime. If you do not claim your estate after 7 years, the letters of estate, ESTA, are removed from your title of master and you are given the title maritime, abbreviated to MR, which people pronounce as Mr., meaning you are a dead entity that has been lost at sea. So why is accepting the maritime title of Mr. so dangerous? Accepting the maritime title is extremely dangerous if you are a living man or woman, because it means you are consenting to being governed by any and all acts, statutes and legislation that is passed by the entity that created the C'est du Vie Trust, which means you have no freedom to choose, are subjecting to being governed and surrendering total control to an authority regarded as being higher than you. As a dead corporate entity, you're consenting to having no lawful rights, because a dead entity has no rights, since they are not living and are therefore not entitled to anything. So what does your straw man control? It controls your bank account, your mortgage, it puts you in the legal system, it controls your voter rights, your passport, your driving license, and your medical records. Since only the law that applies to a living man or woman is do no harm, cause no injury or loss, it means that the entire legal system is unlawful, since it is predicated upon our legal fictions and administering the C'est du Vie Trust upon the trustee that accepts responsibility for it by accepting the maritime title of Mr. A judge has no right to judge you as a living man or woman. Acts, statutes and legislation only apply to your legal fiction or legal person, which is your straw man. This is why they insist on creating joinder before entering the building and tricking you into accepting responsibility for your dead entity, your corporate self, by asking you to confirm that you are either Mr., Mrs., Ms. or any other title, for example, Doctor, so that they can apply acts, statutes and legislation to it and then pass them on to you as the living man or woman taking responsibility for them. Have you ever wondered why they say, all rise, or where the expression, the judge threw the book at him, came from? They come from the judge raising the dead. When they ask you to rise in court, they are raising the dead. And when the judge throws the book at you, it's the book containing all the acts, statutes and legislation that the government has written for it. Former BBC DJ Alex Belfield was jailed for 5 years for stalking Jeremy Vine. However, he didn't cause any harm, injury or loss. So how could he be jailed? What he's actually doing is serving 5 years on behalf of his legal person, which is his corporate entity or straw man. It's his own legal fiction, which is his C'est du Vie Trust, which is paying for his own stay in prison. Have you ever wondered why a mortgage is called such? Morgue means only your dead self. Mr. can get a mortgage. Your Mr. hands a promissory note for your C'est du Vie Trust to the bank. The bank adds the promissory note to their balance sheet. The bank realises the promissory note in currency and gives it back to your strawman. Your strawman then pays the cash back to the bank with interest. Mortgage literally means death pledge, which is why only your dead self can apply for one. Let's talk about your driving licence and the situation that your Mister creates. You cannot license a crime or anything that is unlawful. Your Mister drives and is classed as driving. Your mode of transport is registered as a vehicle. That your legal fiction is driving. Both the words driving and vehicle are related to commercial activity. And commercial activity can only be engaged in by corporations that are corpse, which is dead, entities. Whereas if you are living, what you should do is travel, which you should do in your automobile that should be classified as your own private conveyance. So now let's talk about Mr. and Mrs. When a Mr. and Mrs. gets married, it's often described as tying the knot, a ship's knot, which is why it's given the title Married, which is yet another maritime title. And when a marriage certificate is produced, again it is used as a financial instrument, recognising both of you as a partnership, and again takes on the value of the estimated tax revenue that you were expected to generate. All these certificates produced that are classed as financial instruments create bonds from the Cestui KV Trust, and each bond is given a CUSIP number. So what role does your Mister play at the bank? Banks create fiat currency. That is by definition securities fraud, as defined by the US Supreme Court in SEC versus W.J. Howico 1946. The reason the bank can create fiat currency, securities fraud, is because value is not required to be exchanged between corporate entities engaging in commerce, which is why only your Mr. corporate entity can open a bank account and have its fiat currency deposed of it when it is handed into the bank. And what about the role of Mr. with regard to your medical records? Due to YouTube's policies, this blurb can only be seen on Rumble or BitChute. Links in the description. A corporation can only engage in commerce, which is engagement with other corpse entities. They cannot contract or engage with a living man or woman. This is why utility companies have to trick you into accepting responsibility for your strawman, because otherwise your essential utilities would be free and tax liabilities would not exist. This is the Local Government Act of 1888. When reading this, you need to remember a corporate entity cannot be an inhabitant. And under section 79, subsection 2, it says, all duties and liabilities of the inhabitants of a county shall become the duties and liabilities of the council of such a county. It's the county that has the ability to dip into your Cestui KV Trust and take whatever they like to cover all the duties and liabilities of the inhabitants of their county. All ministers of parliament are referred to as their maritime Mr. titles because it is their strawman that is subject to all the acts, statutes and legislation put in place by parliament. The killer app for the Bitcoin network is for it to be used to prove that you are a living man or woman. It can be used to reclaim your birth certificate, your Cestui KV Trust, to prove that you are a traveller in your automobile that is your own private conveyance, and many other things. For these reasons, it is essential that we use the Bitcoin ledger for everything. Your Cestui KV Trust is held by the Treasury and managed by Fidelity Investments. Those who are able to claim their Cestui KV Trust will find it's worth billions. So to conclude, the evidence of your strawman is your Mister.